What's up, gamers? DreamcastGuy here, and today we're talking about the Xbox Games Showcase because it has just concluded. I watched it, and I have some thoughts, but to be honest, it was way better than I actually expected. I mean, I feel like my expectations were super low because PlayStation had a completely paltry state of play, and then we had Summer Games Fest, which was incredibly boring, whereas Xbox's showcase, it felt like E3. It had new games, it had crazy stuff, it had reveals, it had stuff we knew, it had stuff we didn't. And I want to just pick it apart piece by piece as a person that definitely is kind of been regretting buying my Xbox, to be honest with you. Like, I purchased an Xbox Series X on day one, and it's been pretty much gathering dust. I just play on my PC or on my PS5, but now I'm finally starting to get it. Like, if the stuff they showed today is legit, if these games don't get canceled, if the studios don't get shut down, it does feel like the next 2 years of Xbox could hopefully be legit. But let's discuss. Hi, hope you're having a great day. If you could, please give this video a like and subscribe if you haven't already. So we're going to go through this bit by bit, but we're not going to talk much about Call of Duty. They did talk a little bit about it towards the start. They showed a trailer. They're doing like a separate Xbox showcase dedicated to Call of Duty, but as good as Black Ops 6 is certainly going to be, and it's going to generate billions of dollars of Microsoft cash, I'm just not super interested in like the details of time to kill and stuff. I want to go through the actual games they talked about, starting with, holy heck, what an opener, Doom. The freaking id Classic game is back, and it's taking place in the Middle Ages or like the Dark Ages. So the game is called Doom the Dark Ages, and it has us battling like dragons and demons and stuff, but in like castles with like weird homemade psychotech. This seems so perfect. Like, occasionally you see an idea that's so brilliant, you're like, how has nobody come up with this beforehand? Wowzers. I am definitely super on board with this. God, man. Hopefully they give us a demo of this coming up at like QuakeCon or something. They actually did a surprise demo for Doom 2016 at QuakeCon a couple of years back. But next up, State of Decay 3. This is one of the games. There were a lot of trailers in here. Some stuff that I liked, some stuff that I didn't like. By the way, yeah, Doom is coming out hypothetically next year. There were a lot of trailers that weren't my specific cup of tea, but I did appreciate the games that did still show combat and gameplay. Like State of Decay 3, personally, I despised State of Decay 2. Like, the early version of that, I heard it eventually got patched and fixed, but I tried to play State of Decay 2 for the first month it was out, and it was a completely broken, literally unplayable mess. State of Decay 3, they showed gameplay, they showed combat, they showed some pretty good, well, what the game is going to be. I am so burned on CGI trailers, even though we're about to get to a bunch of CGI trailers. At least this one, you understand how it's going to play. This is a very slow, methodical survival game. Some of the stuff, though, it was still pretty CG heavy, like Dragon Age the Veilguard. This is the next Dragon Age game. What the heck was it called before? It was called like something Dawn Wolf or something like that. So now we have the official name of it. It definitely looks good. I'm curious to see how this shapes up. It sounds like pretty much everybody that made Dragon Age into the franchise we enjoy has left the company long ago. So let's see what the current age of BioWare actually comes up with. Like, the fact that it has specific classes and characters, I mean, we'll see how that one turns out, but the CGI trailer didn't really do anything for me. Like, a lot of the stuff, like this graphics and stuff, even if it looks great, I don't know, man. Oh God. Okay, so everything is going to be pretty positive after this, but I have to get my biggest gripe out of the way. Oh my God. Microsoft is definitely trying to do a bunch of games as a service. Microsoft is obsessed with, obviously, trying to make Xbox Game Pass into Netflix, and they want to drop seasons of games the way they would drop seasons of shows. They had a ridiculous amount of DLC. Hey, we have a new flight simulator. Hey, there's a bunch of stuff coming to Starfield. Okay, well, Starfield is a big expansion. I'll probably play that. It's called Shattered Space, but some of these updates, chat, when this came on, I was watching this live. The people that were reacting to this, like in the Xbox chat, were completely losing their minds. I still really did not enjoy just Starfield in general. It just felt like a busted, downgraded version of just what I loved about Skyrim, but I am going to play that with an open mind, and I hope that Shattered Space, with that extra year of polish and updates, actually plays better than the base game. Graphically, visually, it does look incredibly good. Like, this art style, man, you can harp on Bethesda for having kind of repetitive moments in their games, but that art is truly top-notch. But God, all these things. Oh, here's another season of Sea of Thieves. Yay. Oh, here's another season of World of Warcraft. Now, I was really addicted to World of Warcraft for about 7 years. So what I was personally hoping is I thought they were going to announce that World of Warcraft is getting added to Game Pass. I'm not playing World of Warcraft right now because, to be honest, I'm trying to stop paying for so many of these subscription services. It sucks that there's like 8 billion different fees you got to pay to watch stuff or play stuff. So if they end up putting World of Warcraft into Game Pass, I'll probably give it another shot. But, oh God, a Fallout 76 expansion. I know I am not the target demographic, but I'm saying as a viewer, the fact that they showed a huge bunch of stuff about, oh man, here's the latest update for Fallout 76. Here's the latest update for this game. Here's the latest update for Elder Scrolls Online and stuff. None of that stuff really piques my interest except for Diablo 4. I actually have 700 hours played on freaking Diablo 4, and I'll post that. Like, I'm trying to edit this video quick so it blows up in views. Be sure to like and subscribe. But I definitely want to do a video when this comes out, and I want to show the fact that I have 700 hours played in Diablo 4 because, man, does this game just get more and more fun. They did say that this is going to get a new class, a new area, but they didn't show it. They just showed a pre-rendered cutscene, and in my opinion, they couldn't even really hint as to what we were going to be doing or anything about it. I wanted a bigger reveal than that. As a person with a literal freaking tattoo of Diablo 4, a person who's read all the Diablo books and stuff, I wanted more than just this vague, spooky cutscene. I wanted actual details, or even personally, obviously I'm a fanatic here, I wish they'd shown even 25 seconds of gameplay and said, hey, here's the new class. It's paladins, or it's witch doctors, or it's something. But okay, complaints aside, I am still happy that now Diablo 4 does have a release date. Next up, Expedition 33. This looked super weird, but in a good way. I know that a lot of times there's just so much stuff coming out. It's sometimes difficult to get that necessary attention. There's just so many games coming out so quick. I know that a lot of studios and developers and stuff are struggling to even get you to look at it. This is the kind of stuff that I am glad is at the Xbox showcase, because apparently there is a creature called the Painter that paints a big number, and everybody who is above that number, like here it's 34, everybody that is 35 and up dies. And so everybody is trying to do an expedition to kill her before the whole population of the planet gets wiped out. That's wild. I think they showed some gameplay of it, by the way, and it was a turn-based combat game. It's like a JRPG. It's like classic Final Fantasy, which instantly becomes 10 times cooler than me. By the way, I do want to mention a tiny thing, which is that there was some leaks hinting to the idea that we might actually see something like the Final Fantasy IX remake at this. That did not show up, but I'm not going to knock it against it. Obviously, you can't get mad about what didn't show up because, Xbox never claimed it was going to, but I was still hoping it would show up. I think that would have taken it. I think that this was well, I won't give you my full score yet. I'll give you a score at the end, but if this had some bigger game like Final Fantasy or something that really shocked the audience, I think that would have put it up to a 9 for me personally. Okay, next up, South of Midnight. Now, this is a project done by Compulsion Games. It's the people that did We Happy Few, and I think, what was that game called? Contrast. They've done a bunch of very artsy games. This is purposefully ultra low frame rates. The characters seem like they're moving at 12 or 15 FPS, whereas the game itself is running at 30 FPS. So it creates this interesting stop motion look. It's very purposeful, but man, did I think it looked awful. It's one of those games where I know that people are going to enjoy it, and I'm going to play it, and I hope it's good. But that animation style, oh man, I don't like slow, choppy animation. I get problems with motion sickness sometimes, not very often, but sometimes for whatever reason, if something has choppy frame rate, that really messes with my brain. So I do hope this looks a bit smoother in the final version, but right now I will say this looked a lot better than I kind of hoped. The initial teaser trailer of it didn't really sell me on it, but now that I know that it's like a big swamp adventure mythology thing, it definitely has my attention more than it did. Next up, Metal Gear Solid Delta. So this is a full remake of Metal Gear Solid 3. Oh my gosh. Certain stuff, I feel like they made the characters look a little bit different, but God, I like Metal Gear Solid. I've beaten every Metal Gear Solid, but man, this remake looks 10 out of 10 perfect. Konami makes mistakes. I know that there is a chance this will end up being a complete dud, but this trailer was insano. I loved this trailer, and it had so much combat. It had so much gameplay. It had like just him blowing everybody up. Everybody knows that freaking Metal Gear Solid 3 is a masterpiece, but wow. Now, this is one of those times where some Xbox showcases, they end everything with like, coming to Game Pass. They didn't do that for this one. A lot of the stuff is coming to Game Pass. This one, obviously, is a normal full-priced game. The licensing deal to put this on Game Pass would be tens of millions of dollars, probably. Some games they showed today, it just looked terrible. There was like a whole section of this that, in my opinion, was incredibly boring. A lot of these games like, hey, we're Flintlock the Siege. It's a game where you like kill gods. Yay. Age of Mythology. I do not freaking care. Perfect Dark. So when this got revealed, like when this trailer started, I did see a lot of chat extremely happy about it because there were some details that kind of slipped out that this game is having an extremely difficult development. The people that are trying to make it are just having difficulty completely nailing like the tone, the pacing, the speed, making it fun. But now that we've had a chance to see not just cutscene, but a lot of what seems to be gameplay, like sometimes these gameplay things are fake, it's kind of held up by shoestrings, but it seems pretty real. And it seems pretty fun. Like, I'm hesitant to fully say this looks fantastic because of all the leaks and stuff. But if we put that out of our minds, this does seem like classic Perfect Dark. Like, it seems like a classic cool shooter with tons of spy and espionage and crazy gadgets and stuff. If this ends up being as good as these trailers make it out to be, I think Perfect Dark is going to be a very, very big W for Xbox. Next up, Fable. So this trailer seems to convey, and I could be wrong here, it seems to convey that this chick is the main character, that there will not be a custom character. This is the playable character. So this, I think, is this going to be the first Fable game where you can't make a hero? Now, that's just the way it's conveyed by this trailer, which showed her so much, and we haven't ever seen any other character except for her. So I don't know, but I still think this game has a bit of an art style thing that doesn't quite work for me, but this is one of those games that I'm ready to be wrong about. If Fable comes out and it completely rocks, I will be extremely happy to take the L, but a lot of these early teases, they just seem so hyper-focused on being funny instead of being a game. Like I want to see some combat. I want to see like a full minute of uninterrupted hacking and slashing and magic. But when it comes to color, when it comes to presentation, yeah, it sure looks like Fable. Okay, next up. Indiana Jones and the Great Circle. So this is a game, I have not liked some of the glances at it. This is being done by Machine Games, the people that have done the Wolfenstein games, which I completely freaking loved. So the fact that they specifically are working on Indiana Jones, I am open-minded to it, but they still didn't show much gameplay. They just showed this really long cutscene, which did look funny. It was animated well and voice acted well, but like the reason I loved Machine Games is because you get to murder Nazis. You get to rip them apart and hack them up with axes and gouge their eyes out and murder tons of Nazis. And clearly we're going to get to do that in this. We get to murder all these filthy Nazis. That's cool to me. I wish they'd shown more of that. Maybe it's because they're trying to sell this to the Indiana Jones crowd. They're trying to show like, hey, look, we made a game for the existing Indiana Jones audience. I guess as a person who isn't an Indiana Jones fan, like I've seen all the movies once and I went, okay, which I know is a rarity. I want to see how it plays more than I want to see like basically reenacting the silliness of Indiana Jones. Oh yeah, Avowed exists. This is still coming out 2024. We don't have an exact release date. I still think that Avowed looks absolutely fantastic. I think it has such a Skyrim vibe to it. The more they show of it, the less it looks kind of like Skyrim. The more it kind of looks like your standard fantasy game. But I'm ready to really be blown away by that. I do love Obsidian a lot. There is some stuff I'm skipping in here just because there is some stuff that personally I really don't care about Elder Scrolls Online. I really don't care much about Life is Strange. This is one of those games that I know does have a very, very hardcore fan base. These are the original characters from the first Life is Strange, I believe, right? Like, these people, double exposure. So the character Max is able to rewind time. Now she can go to parallel universes. That's actually a pretty good idea for a game. But some of the stuff in here, like Mecha Break, I just did not care about. There was a big chunk of this that, I mean, for me personally, just did not grab my attention, did not impress me, did not wow me. But these last two games absolutely blew me away. Freaking Stalker 2, Heart of Chernobyl, looked so good. I do not have much experience with Stalker. I haven't played the first one, like hardly at all. I've heard it has an incredibly diehard fan base. So the fact that they're bringing it back, I've heard it is the most gritty, hardcore, realistic simulation survival ever, where you have to actually have like air filtration and eat food and properly not get infections. I mean, I'm not sure how much of that's legit. I've just heard different stuff like that, especially with the mod scene. People make all sorts of like hyper realistic mods. But man, does this look absolutely insano. And this is coming to Xbox Game Pass. You got to give them credit for that. But the closeout, this, literally my jaw was on the floor. If you actually go to my channel and search the word Gears of War, I have reviewed, I've beaten, I've played every single Gears of War game. I am obsessed with Gears of War. I even read, there are some Gears of War books. There's some Gears of War comics. I would not recommend them. They're kind of cheesy, but not very well done. They're doing what seems like a remake of Gears of War 1 or something that takes place in the timeline of the early Gears of War games. That's a young Marcus Phoenix. That's Dom back from the dead. And it says, Gears of War E-Day. Now, they even showed a flash of a newspaper that said the war is over. So I think this takes place right after the Emulsion Wars have ended. And so it's like showing up right at the beginning of when the Locusts arrive. This was a really good showcase. I mean, it's one of those things where it wasn't perfect. It definitely had some slow moments. But if you compare it to the other showcases we had recently, Xbox killed it. They absolutely set expectations right and followed through perfectly. Wow. I beforehand, I thought this was going to be like a 4 out of 10. It was at least an 8. I would give this a solid 7.5 or 8. This was a good showcase. But what do you guys think about it? Tell me your thoughts in the comments down below. And if you enjoyed this video, be sure to give it a like, subscribe if you haven't already, and please keep dreaming. Thanks so much for watching that video. If you want to see something else, you can always click this link to see what I put up last, or, subscribe and see what's coming up next. Also, I promise that whatever I do, it'll try not to suck.